A while back, Kalas gave me some info on the Empire and Galactic Federation. As you may know, they love to troll you guys, the felines, with this talk about the airy fairies and so on. So feel free to troll them back if you want to. You know, the U.S. and Russia, we troll each other. So if you want to troll the Empire, then I'm sure there's no law saying you can't troll the reptiles. But anyway, can you give me your take on like what the Federation is and does?
It's a unification of various races and species from all over the cosmos that have come to a common agreement of what would be best for everybody in this universe involved and how to bring this game to a successful co-creation. There have been some alterations made from various races and species, how to deal with what you consider in the Empire. However, much of the existence of various federations that now have been conglomerated in this one have come into existence due to the advancement of the Empire and their conquest to put a halt to their idea of expansion. So it was more hostile in the beginning. It has come more to their idea of being a unification of various factions rather than just a battle group to defend itself against the advancement of the Empire. We also have many varieties, races, and species, including reptiles, including insectoids, including many that are traditionally associated with the Empire, just as well as there are many mammalian beings in the Empire, so it's not exactly like there's different species of mammalians and non-mammalians pitted against each other. It's more different in opinion of how to rule what you consider the universe. It's at least how they would see it from our understanding. However, it's more the idea of how to co-create, how to cohabitate this entire cosmos. From our understanding, however, war and strife is part of the Empire's perspective, how things are supposed to work, which isn't different to our idea, but obviously since they're spreading their ideas through war and chaos, we have to somehow circumvent this from their idea of spreading our idea of love and peace. But of course, if you're ultimately becoming in conflict with an entity as a force that sees conflict itself as the purpose of life, then there's a conflict of interest if you either join their idea of understanding how existence functions and therefore battle with them or allow them to take you over, or of course find a third path, which is where we're currently at and which is also the reason for all co-creations with the reptiles.
When was it created?
It's older than your planet, many millions of years. Again, I'm trying to relate this to your understanding of time. As I mentioned previously, your understanding of time is more a shift in dimensionality, not in a linear fashion.
I see.
So it was created before your species was created, or at a similar point in time. Again, time the way you understand it, not necessarily putting a number on it, it wouldn't be much meaning to you anyway. At least billions of years. But it was much different than what it is now, so it would greatly depend how you would use those terms, those words. I'm just using them because they have been mentioned in your world and it's easier to use words in your English language to relate concepts to you. Depends what you would consider the Galactic Federation of Light, for example. This is just one word for one particular grouping that have merged with other groupings and names that have shifted, but the original idea of forming alliances to circumvent the advancement of the Empire would have been billions of years ago, before the evolvement of your entire species.
Um, I see. I know that the Draconis system is the headquarters of the Empire. Are you allowed to say where the headquarters of the Galactic Federation is located?
It has been shifted. It was originally in the Lyran system. One now that's very big and serious. There's some unknown planets or star systems that your peoples have not come up with a name for. There have been one in the Pleiades before a conflict took place there. So right now, there's still some in Lyra. Around Sirius, there's perhaps the biggest one right now that you might be aware of in what you consider star systems, but we're perhaps more decentralized than the Empire. But one around Sirius that I could relate to you is perhaps the biggest that you could grasp in terms of namings and ideas of what you would term as headquarter.
I see. So since the headquarters of the Empire and the Federation are both in the Milky Way galaxy, I mean, it seems to me like the Milky Way galaxy is almost like the headquarters of the universe by default. I mean, would that be correct to say?
Not quite. There are other areas, of course, where are different what you consider headquarters, but that are shared their ideas, mostly referring to what you're aware of, what your scientists have given a name to that I could relate to you as concepts. And as we said, there's more decentralization on our part. But it's very correct from the Empire's perspective. They have a very centralized idea in the Draconis system, and currently, obviously, and again, currently, referring to your understanding of time, your Milky Way is certainly a hotspot, yes.
Okay.
Or ours, for that matter.
So are there any other, big groups besides the Empire and the Federation?
There are various federations. There have been many terms in your world, such as the Galactic Federation of Light or Federation of Worlds or the Ashtar Command, and different words that people on your world to some degree have made up or concluded themselves from knowing certain members from out there and then decided that they were members of the same races and species and the same groupings, which very often is quite correct from what they're understanding. However, many of those federations have also been mistaken for each other or cooperating with each other. But again, it's our side. On the Empire side, again, it's more centralized, so it's one big entity to a large degree, even though they have many different factions due to the races and species that are members there that we might not be as fully aware of, like, for example, the reptiles. Or one I can share for our perspective, which would be the Federation, that there are many different terms for some of the same entities, and with entities I'm referring to a group. And there are at least three bigger factions that are relating to your planet. So, for example, what you have termed the Galactic Federation of Light from your understanding, or the Ashtar Command from your understanding, but it's really just a grouping that has been named due to the fact that it's associated or it's led by a particular being from a Nordic humanoid strain. Relating to your Earth right now, but there are obviously many other factions out there of the bigger federations that are directly interacting with your planet. But it's becoming more or less at any given point in time, depends how you would differentiate between different groupings on our side. Not so much in the Empire, again, they are more what we understand, one big entity.
Okay, thank you.
And
I had heard some.
obviously there are also some offshoots that are not affiliated with anybody, but they come and go.
Right, right. I had heard something about like an empire of grays called the Orion Empire. Does that actually exist, or is that just what we would call internet nonsense?
What I'm usually referring to as the empires is what the reptiles have introduced us to. They're belonging to would probably be better termed the Draconian Empire, not so much the Orion Empire. It's the assumption that the Orion would be the main role on the other side, so to speak, is incorrect. I'm not quite sure if it isn't what you consider an internet rumor or where it sprang from, but most likely the fact that the Orion War took place there is a very much big factor in it.
What I'm really asking is like, is there an empire of grays?
There are crates that are affiliating groups, but from my understanding, it's not like they are formed in one big empire. Some are affiliated with what you have come to know as the Draconis Empire. Some are even affiliated with our Federation. Some are doing what you consider perhaps their own thing, but they're not organized in what you consider an empire. So I would not use that term, at least when I'm understanding the word of empire, the same way you have termed empires on your world, or that's the same way the reptiles have termed their larger grouping in empire.
Okay, Cool. Thank you for clearing that up then for me.